I have been using GitHub for a long time, but I never bothered to update my GitHub profile readme. And this is how my GitHub profile used to look like. I found that GitHub profile is a excellent way to showcase your skill set, your interest, your activities to the GitHub community. So I started researching and I found various people have done amazing works with their GitHub profile. So inspired by them, I also updated my GitHub profile recently. And today in this video, I'm going to show you how I did it. And if you follow along, I guarantee you that you'll be able to do it too. So let's get started. Now, before jumping to coding, I'm going to give you a short tour of my GitHub profile. I have divided my GitHub profile into 6 sections. In the first section, I added a cool emoji and a short description about myself. In the second section, I have added links to my social media accounts and the view counts of my GitHub profile. Recently, I have started creating YouTube videos and writing blog posts. So in the third and fourth section, I have added YouTube video cards and blog post references. To automatically fetch the latest videos and blog posts, I have used GitHub Actions. And now in the fifth section, I have added a list of my favorite tools for development. And in the sixth and last section, I have added various statistic cards to show the total contribution I have made so far, the current streak, the longest streak, the stars that I have earned, and the most used language throughout my repositories. A graph contribution showing the contribution I have made in the last 31 days. So I'm done showing how my GitHub profile is going to look like. And now it's time to start coding. At first, I'm going to create a new GitHub repository. But if you are already familiar with this process, then you can skip ahead and go to the next segment of this video. On the home page of my GitHub account, I'm going to click on this plus icon and select new repository. On the create a new repository page, I need to input a repository name, and this name must be same as the GitHub profile name. So as you can see, GitHub is telling me that this is a special repository as the repository name is same as the GitHub profile name. So next, I'm going to keep the viewing permission as public, but if you want, you can choose to keep your repository private. But in this case, you won't see any changes on the GitHub profile. Next, I'm going to add a README file, and then finally, I'm going to hit the create repository button. Now I have my brand new repo for my GitHub profile. Let me head over to my GitHub profile page and refresh it. You can see the changes already. However, this is boring as before. So let's start adding things to make it look awesome. Now I'm going to open this readme.md file in the GitHub editor. I am using GitHub editor because it has a nice feature called preview. So when I am doing any changes to my code, I can go to the preview section and see how it is turning out. Back to the editor, I'm going to clean up this unnecessary code as I don't need them. Then I'm going to type a comment saying that this part is the intro section. Now for the first part of my intro section, I'm going to use a cool sunglass wearing emoji. I found this emoji on Thomas Guibert GitHub profile. uh, I'm going to use this emoji on my GitHub profile, and to do this I'm going to go to his repository and open the readme file in edit mode. From here I'm going to copy the emoji URL. Now back to my GitHub editor, I'm going to create a div HTML tag. Also I'm going to give it a ID name intro image and align this div to center. Now I'm going to create a image tag and input a source parameter where the value will be the emoji URL that I have copied from the Thomas profile. Now let's head over to the preview section and see how it turned out. Yay! We have our little cool looking emoji. I think I need to resize it a little bit, so I'm going to give it a width of 100. Yeah, let's check it out again. Looks good. For the second part of my intro section, I'm going to add a short intro about myself. And to do that, I'm going to go to the README typing SVG repo by Denver Coder 1. Here, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to ignore the quick setup because there is a better option. And that's the demo side of this repo. So I'm going to head over to the demo side of this repo and do all the customization in this side. In this side, first I'm going to add the lines that I want to show in my GitHub profile. So I have added three lines, which is, hi, I'm Suraj Rasmin Disha. It's nice to meet you. I'm a full stack web and app developer. In the options, I'm going to change the font name. I can input any font name that is available in Google Fonts. So from the Google Fonts, I have chosen Roboto Condensed and I'm going to copy this name and paste it in the font field. Next, I'm going to increase the font weight to 500 and increase the size to 25. And for the duration, I am going to change this from 5000 millisecond to 4000 millisecond. And the pause after each line will be 500 millisecond. The font color will be this one. If you want to change it, you can choose any color and just paste the hexadecimal number here. Next, I'm going to keep the background color as transparent and the lines will be horizontally centered. So I'm going to select this as true. For the vertically centered, I'm also going to select this as true. And the multi-line option is okay. The repeat option is okay. For the width and height, I'm going to change the width to 550. Now, lines are ready. So I'm going to copy the HTML code. After copying the HTML code, I'm going to go back to my GitHub editor and here I'm going to create a new div. I'm going to give it a ID, name about me, and I will align this div to center. Now I'm going to paste the HTML code that I have copied from the README typing SVG. We are all done. Now let's go to the preview section. Yeah, code is working. But if you see one thing that this emoji is clickable. So we want to avoid this thing. To do that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap this image tag into a anchor tag. And I'm going to give the reference value hash. Now, see, it's not clickable anymore. For the second section of my GitHub profile, I'm going to add social media links and a profile view counter. To do that, I'm going to use badges from shields.io. But I'm not going to directly generate these badges from shields.io. I'm going to take help from this blog, How to Create an Impressive GitHub Profile, Readme by Nida Khan. Here, if I scroll down, there is a URL for the LinkedIn badge. I'm going to copy this URL. Now I'm going to go back to my GitHub editor. Here, I'm going to create a new section and I will call it social media. In this section, I'm going to create a new div tag. And as before, I'm going to give it the ID, social media badges, and I will align this div to center. Now I am going to add an anchor tag. For the reference value, I'm going to keep it as blank for now. Within this anchor tag, I'm going to create a image tag. And for the source of this image, I'm going to paste the value that I copied from the blog. Also, I'm going to add a alt attribute. So if our image is broken for some reason, it will show that it was a LinkedIn badge. Now I need to link my LinkedIn account to this badge, and to do that, I'm going to paste my LinkedIn account link. Let's check it out in the preview section. Yeah, the badge is showing. Now if I click on this link, it should work. Yeah, here I am in my LinkedIn profile. So let's go back. This badge is working. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my YouTube account and for my Twitter account. Done. Let's check it out again. Yeah, here is my LinkedIn badge, here's my YouTube, and here's my Twitter badge. But the styling is a little bit different. To fix this, we are going to go to my editor and see what's missing. Okay, the style is missing, and the style for the badge should be added in the LinkedIn part also. Let's check it out again. Yeah, looks good. Next, we're going to add the profile views. And to do that, I'm going to head over to the GitHub Profile Views Counter by Anton Komarev. Here I'm going to scroll down, and you can see that there are many options for personalization. I'm going to choose the links that is in the style section and go back to my editor. Here I'm going to create another anchor tag and refer this to my home page. Now I'm going to create an image tag, and the source attribute value will be the link I have copied. I need to change the username to my GitHub username, and the style will be for the badge, so all the badges look same. And I'm going to pass another parameter called color, and it will be red. And let's give it a alt attribute named profile view counter. Done. Now let's check it out in the preview section. Yay, we have our profile view counter showing in the profile. Now all the badges have been added, so I'm going to commit the changes. It's done. Now let's head over to my GitHub profile, and I'm going to refresh the page. The badges linked to my social medias are being shown in my GitHub profile. In the third section of my GitHub profile, I'm going to add my latest YouTube video cards, and for that I'm going to use GitHub Actions. What GitHub Actions will do, it will look for latest videos in my YouTube channel, and if it finds any, it will pull it into my GitHub profile. Now, to do this, I'm first going to go to the GitHub Readme YouTube course by Denver Coder 1. Here, I'm going to scroll down. Here, I'm going to follow the steps. At first, I'm going to copy these lines, and I'm going to go back to my editor. Here, I'm going to create a new section called YouTube Video Cards. Now, I'm going to create a new H2 title using Markdown language, and the title name will be Latest YouTube Videos. And to make the heading look better, I'm going to input an emoji. Next, I am going to input the lines that I have copied before. When the GitHub action will find any new video in my channel, it will input the video links in between these two lines. Now let's check the changes in the previous section. It looks good. Now I'm going to commit the changes. Added YouTube videos section. Let's commit the changes. Now I'm going to go to my main directory, and here I'm going to create a new folder dot github, and inside this folder I'm going to create a new folder called workflows, and inside this folder I'm going to create a file named YouTube cards.yml. Now I'm going to go to the GitHub Readme YouTube cards repository, and from here I'm going to scroll down and go into the advanced configuration. Here I'm going to copy the example workflow and back to my editor. I'm going to paste this line. I'm going to remove the unnecessary lines. Now I'm going to change the channel ID to my YouTube channel ID. Okay. Now, if you are wondering how you are going to get a YouTube API key, then don't worry because I have provided a link about how you are going to get it in the description box below. After getting the YouTube API key, you need to save this in GitHub Secrets. Now, just remember that this YouTube API key is important if you want to show duration of your videos in the YouTube video cards. And the output type, I'm going to change it to HTML. Next, we are going to go to the Actions section. From here, I'm going to select GitHub Readme YouTube cards. Now, I'm going to run the workflow manually. Remember, you have to run this manually for the first time. Let's wait for the result. Okay, the YouTube cards.yml file ran successfully. Now, I'm going to go back to my GitHub profile. My latest YouTube video, which is just one, is showing in the latest YouTube video section. In the fourth section of my GitHub profile, I'm going to add the latest blogs, and for that I'm going to use the GitHub Actions like I did for the YouTube video cards. And to do that, I'm going to go to this repo by Gautam Krishna named blog post workflow. Here I'm going to scroll down, and from the how to use section I'm going to copy these lines and go back to my editor. In the editor, I'm going to define the section name using a comment, and then I'm going to create a h2 title, and I'm going to give the title name latest blog post, and to make it look better I'm going to use emoji. Now I'm going to paste the lines that I have copied from the repo. We already have our title name, so we are not going to use this. Yeah, so we are done. Let's check out in the preview section. Yeah, it's here. So it looks good. Now I'm going to commit these changes. Back to my repo, I'm going to create a new file in the github/workflows folder, and the name will be blog post workflow.yml. Then I'm going to go back to the blog post workflow repo, and from here I'm going to copy this code. Then I'm going to go back to my file editor, and here I'm going to paste these lines. Now I'm going to remove the unnecessary lines that I don't need. After committing the changes, I'm going to go to the Actions tab, and from here I'm going to go to the latest blog post workflow. Here I'm going to run the workflow manually as it is the first time, and let's wait for some time. GitHub Actions has started running the file, and it ran successfully. So let's go back to my GitHub profile and refresh the page to see the changes. And my latest blog posts are showing in my GitHub profile. Next, for the fourth section, I'm going to add a list of my tools for development. For that, I'm going to go back to my GitHub editor, and I'm going to create a new section by using comments. And I'm going to break this section into 4 parts. Next, I'm going to add h2 title and using Markdown language, and the title name will be my favorite tools. And I'm also going to add a emoji here. I'm going to divide this section into 4 categories, and I'm going to wrap each category name within a h3 HTML tag. So the first category will be programming languages, the second category will be frameworks and libraries, and the third category will be database and cloud hosting, and the final and last category will be software and tools. Let's go to the preview section to see how it turned out. Yeah, I have my favorite tools separated in 4 categories. Now I'm going to go back to the editor, and then for the first category in programming languages, I'm going to create a paragraph tag. And within this paragraph tag, I'm going to add all the badges for my programming languages. I'm going to use the badges from shields.io, but I'm not going to generate them from the shields.io directly. I found an awesome blog by Vedant. Here there's a great collection of shields.io badges, and there is also categories. So from here, I'm going to choose the skills, and I'm going to choose this image link for JavaScript. I'm going to copy this link and go back to my editor. Here I'm going to create an image tag, and in the source attribute I'm going to pass the URL, and I'm also going to type a alt attribute, and I'll name it JavaScript. um I'm going to change the style for the badge to flat square because I like this style better. Now we are done, so let's go back in the preview section. Yeah, we have this JavaScript badge showing in our favorite tools section. But as you can see, this is clickable. So if I click on this link, a new page will open. To avoid this from happening, I'm going to wrap this image tag within a anchor tag. I'm going to give the reference value a hash, which will always point my GitHub profile. So let's check again. And now, as you can see, this clickable option is gone. So we are done. And for the rest of the badges, I'm going to do the same. So I have inserted all the badges of my favorite tools, and now let's go to the preview section to see. Yeah, all of them are showing correctly in the preview section. So I'm going to commit the changes. Now let's go back to the GitHub profile page and refresh it. Yes, the favorite tool section has been added. Now it's time to add the last section of my GitHub profile. And to do this, I'm going to go to the Denver Coder 1 GitHub profile. Here I am going to scroll down to his GitHub stats and activity section. And I quite like this style, so I'm going to use the same. And to do that, I'm going to go to his repo and open the readme file in edit mode. From here, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to copy this section for the strict stats. Now back to my editor. I'm going to create a new section using comment, and I'm going to give the section name GitHub activities. Now let's give the title name GitHub stats. Next, I'm going to paste the code that I have copied, and here I'm going to remove this unnecessary line, and I'm going to close this paragraph tag. Next, I'm going to edit the username. This should be my GitHub profile name. Also, let's change the alt attributes from Denver Coders 1 to Suraya Dishes Straight. Now it's time to check out the results. So let's head to the preview section. Yep, the card is showing. So I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the card. I have added the links of all the cards that I want to show in my GitHub status section. So let's go into the preview section to check out. Yeah, it looks fine. And now I'm going to commit these changes. Now let's go back to my GitHub profile and refresh the page and scroll down. Yeah, I have all the cards showing in my GitHub stats section. So here is the final look of my updated GitHub profile, which is way more amazing than it used to be. Hey everyone, if you find this video helpful, then please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. If this video inspires you to update your own GitHub profile, then I would love to check it out. So please share the final version of your GitHub profile with me in the comment section below. Until the next video, take care and goodbye.